David. You're an Aussie brand originally. I guess that's the best place to start.
Yes, we're an Aussie brand. The business started in 1932, so we've been around for some time. And the business has evolved over time, and we're now very much 100% focused on the kitchen and the food and drink outcomes. So that's our focus, that's our passion, and that's what I get to talk about every day, unlike you.
It's good to be able to talk to you about this. So talk to me about the decision to use the Sage brand name, Sage Appliances brand name across Europe and the Middle East. I mean, machines are known as, they're under the Breville name in the US, aren't they?
Yeah, I've told this story about 1,000 times, maybe more than that. But essentially, Breville was our trademark. We had a customer in the UK in the 70s, early 80s, which was a good customer for us, buying a Jaffle maker. It was our first patented kitchen product. It's like a sandwich grill.
Right.
And to continue with them as a good customer for us, we sold them our trademark for all of Europe for all of time for a very low cost. And we wish we had done that now, because at this stage now we have two brands. That means we have to do everything twice in terms of marketing, which is a bit of a headache, but that's what it is. We then chose, when we came to the UK, or when I came to the UK 2013, the brand Sage to go forward in EMEA.
Okay, so, it's a very distinct brand positioning here. I guess, the longer you're here, the more that aids, market penetration in this part of the world, doesn't it?
Yes, hopefully. That's the plan. That's the plan.
More on the Middle East market.
Yes.
We've had recent launches like the Oracle Jet. That's kind of the standout, I think, in lots of ways. What makes the GCC or the wider Middle East a particularly important growth engine for Sage right now? And also, what kind of unique consumer preferences are you addressing in this region, in this part of the world?
So we don't start trends, food trends, but we tend to fast follow out of home food trends. So what's happening out of home, people tend to want to take into their house.
Right.
Coffee is one that's a big part of our business at the moment, and there's others coming. But the coffee trend in the Middle East is huge. I've been to It's phenomenal. I've been to shopping centers in the Middle East that one of them had 17 Starbucks in it, and I'm on, which is crazy. But what we're seeing in the Middle East is this trend towards specialty coffee. So people expecting a different level of coffee in cup experience, and people are taking that to home. What we do different, and what we've concentrated on in many ways, is to open up that possibility to make that amazing cup of coffee at home to not just a barista. And that's what it used to be. You used to have to be a barista, or you'd choose a substandard cup of coffee at home.
Yeah.
But now a lot of our innovation is putting automation into still the rules that a third wave coffee cafe uses to create coffee. So we simplify and make hands free many of the functions that still need to happen to make that amazing cup of coffee. So what that means is more people can engage with third wave coffee at home. So you don't have to be a barista anymore, which is the direction we have gone down. Two paths. Yes, if you want to be a barista, great. If you want to be hands-on but still want that same cup of coffee, that same expectation, we can satisfy you. So we're broadening the market for great at-home coffee.
It's no encroachment on baristas. That you're not putting baristas out of work. You're just extending the experience, I suppose. I mean, I always kind of think there are many parallels between where Australian coffee culture is, and it's a huge thing, and I understand that. But there are many parallels between the way Aussies enjoy coffee and the way we enjoy coffee here in the Middle East. It's very much, there are many similarities there. We've got a store downtown here in Dubai that serves coffee that costs you $1,000, has gold leaf on. I mean, you're not surprised by that, of course.
No.
But we all want that experience. That's the point.
Yeah, 100%. I think we've done studies in the past where coffee means different things to different regions, and I think you're right. It's a similar meaning in the Middle East as what it is in Australia.
Mm.
So in the States, it's about the big cup, as much caffeine as you can to take on the day, to take your boss's job, right? But
Yeah.
for us in Australia, it's that moment of enjoyment that I have in a cafe. And for me personally, that's the same thing at home, as I enjoy that moment of blocking out all the noise, the work, the kids, the whatever it is, and enjoying that moment myself or with family and friends.
I'm so
Uh,
with you.
yeah,
I want to come to a little bit more coffee stuff a little bit later, actually. But I'm interested in something I was reading on I think it was a website, it may have been an article that you were involved with, contributed to, where you describe the way you work as at Sage, that your food thinkers, which I
yeah,
liked.
yes, that's what we call ourselves internally. It kind of leaks out, and it makes a lot of sense. And funnily enough, that's why we chose the brand Sage for EMEA, because sage is a food, it's a herb, and it's also a sage person is a thinker. So
Yeah.
that's just a little side story there. But yeah, we think deeply about the food outcome and the food problems that people are having, and then we learn as much on about that, and then we go back and design the product and technologies and whatever is required to solve those issues. Um, for instance, we've got an amazing ice cream maker that doesn't people just don't make ice cream. They make sorbets, they make frozen yogurts and all that kind of stuff. So our guys went to Italy to learn uh, ice cream and sorbets and gelatos at the heart of the outcome. And then we realized that they all have different textures. So we put some technology into an ice cream maker that understands the hardness of the ingredient, and then it can automatically turn off when you've pre-selected whatever it is you want it to make. So
Mm.
it's not we don't design products. We learn food. We are food thinkers, and then we solve issues through engineering and design.
Okay, but that's a slightly different way of putting it, I guess. I mean, you're known for some pretty decent technology, but there's this kind of emphasis on the aesthetic and obviously the user experience. Hence the
Yep.
food thinkers moniker, I guess. But the Oracle Jet's a good example of this. It kind of recalls the design of those original. There's a thing about Italian cappuccino machines, the Mozzaccos, the Gaggias, those kinds of things. They're pieces of art in lots of ways, I think. So, your gear is loaded with features and you can look like a great barista. But also you have this balance of that, in some ways you don't have to do the heavy lifting because the technology allows that automation. So there's that balance that you have to strike as well, I think.
Yeah, 100%. A couple of points there. Like kitchens are out in the open. Where people make coffee is a big visual spot in the house. So
Hmm.
we call it a trophy on the bench top. So design is incredibly important in the purchase decision. And yeah, so and then the balance having people feel that they're making the coffee is really important, but helping them get that outcome that they really desire is probably even more important.
It's this kind of mastery in a box philosophy, isn't it? That you've got the
Yeah,
master
yeah,
chef thing, and you've got the time poor gourmet, who needs the shortcut but wants to
yeah,
produce something of quality. Um,
yeah, exactly. And yeah,
no, go on. Sorry, you were gonna.
yeah, and that's more than just product as well. It's about the knowledge and that transfer of knowledge and assistance that the customer gets. So it's not just the product. You buy one of our coffee machines, you can't make a coffee at home. You need to have assistance to find the right beans, and given enough education um, to get that outcome that you're chasing. So that's a big part of our philosophy and where we concentrate as well.
So coffee machines are that's the strongest segment. That's the strongest demand. That's what everybody wants and expects.
Well, that's what everyone wants, and once you start drinking coffee, it is caffeine at the end of the day. So try and once you've gone there, try and not have a coffee machine. So it's a good category in that sense. and it's one that consumers tend to trade up. Where they start in their coffee journey is definitely not generally where they end. Um, so it is good category for us. It's our largest category, but the other food preparation and cooking categories are also very important for us as well globally.
You clearly focus, great effort on product innovation. You got something like 940, is that right? Active patents. So that's kind of central if you want to maintain that, premium, innovation edge. R&D is clearly key to you. Massive budget for research and development, I guess.
Yeah, we would say yes. It's a big budget. Uh, yeah, we are a publicly listed company, so people can see that. But we have a huge team of people in engineering, of which engineering has changed a lot. Now everything's becoming far more digital. So there's various types of engineering, and the design team. It's a big team based originally just out of Australia in Sydney, but it's become far more global now. Yeah, so it's a huge team, a huge investment, and it's one that continues to roll on. They're working on products that we'll see in 2-3 years' time that I can't talk about, but they're always working ahead of us.
Well, I was going to ask you that because the great new gadget that you're working on now. We're coming towards the festive period, of course. These are great gifts. You can't tell me what we may have in our kitchens in the coming years that we
Uh,
currently don't know we need.
well, I'll go back to coffee.
Go
The
on.
new machine we have launched in other markets, so I guess I can talk about that.
All
But
right.
I talked before about having different types of machines. One if you're a barista, and one if you're what we call a time pour gourmet, someone who wants that simplicity.
Mm-hmm.
So we've now merged functionality in our new coffee machine, where with a swipe of the screen, you can go into a manual mode where you get to enjoy the process, or you can swipe back down for that automatic mode, where it's all essentially hands-free. That's the new innovation. That's called the Oracle Dual Boilers, and that'll hit the markets in EMEA in March, maybe.
Okay.
In the Middle East in March, and will be shown at the World of Coffee in Dubai in January.
Okay, I appreciate it. Look, let's switch a little bit and look at growth for a brand like yours. Your affiliate social commerce programs have driven significant growth. You are certainly on the radar, let's put it that way. What are the key learnings from your digital strategy, though, and how are you planning to evolve, a direct-to-consumer channel here? The e-commerce landscape is crowded. You don't have a flagship store here. Is that maybe part of the plan?
That is a consideration,
Mm-hmm.
not one that we're taking now. We're new to being direct in the Middle East, which that we're about 12 months in. So
Right.
that can happen over time. But digitally, um, uh, machines at our level are. It's interesting that in the purchase process, consumers are having many touch points online. So for coffee, it's evidently like 15 odd digital touch points before you make your decision. So um, we spend less money in regards to surfacing in that search, but more about providing the right information for the consumer, either by ourselves or by our various partners, other authorities in the topic. So coffee specialists, as an example. So
Mm-hmm.
it's more about having the right information for the customer when they're searching. Is what we can afford to do as a new brand. I'd like to have the budgets of some of the other bigger brands and act differently, but that's where we have to concentrate our efforts.
I mean, it's a big purchase, isn't it? A great
Yeah.
coffee machine is a great example. These are not cheap things. I have to say, look, I'm a coffee fanatic, and it's great to hear. We all love a posh coffee machine, I think. I spent a small fortune on a bean to cup machine a few years ago. But the point I would make from that is every time I switch it on, I kind of pat myself on the back and I start to salivate. It's very like Pavlov's dogs in our house. But they are a flagship category in lots of ways. These are, and you're right, you're mulling over. This is the kind of thing where the magazines are in, the brochures are in, and then the touch points on, digitally are very, very important to people.
Yeah, 100%. And I'd add in the Middle East and Dubai is the specialty coffee cafes are equally important. That there's a lot of conversations that start there, and a lot of great cafes selling machines or at least recommending to customers. Word of mouth is also a massive player in this space. Coffee is something you do share with a guest, and you put a decent cup of coffee in front of them. There's generally going to be a conversation about how you did that. So that's a big player for us as well.
I got to be honest with you as well. Again, I'm being a little bit too honest today. But if I put a decent cup of coffee in front of somebody that I'm talking to and they don't like it, I kind of second guess whether I should initiate a friendship with them. If I'm really honest with you,
I agree.
We're on the same page there for sure.
Yeah. What coffee machine have you got, by the way? Because I'm not sure if we can be friends.
Well, I'll tell you off air in a moment. Is that
okay,
how does that work? Yeah, but it is a bean to cup and cost me. I nearly had to mortgage a house. But anyway, look, smart appliances, connected kitchens. This is a trend that I wanted to very quickly ask you about. What's your next big move? What are you considering in terms of connectivity? Are we moving towards like a Sage appliance ecosystem? And what might that mean for, I guess, for user experience?
We are playing in different ways in that field. We've got products launched in the States that are heavily connected. Ovens are a big deal for us in America.
Right.
And we have what we call the Breville Plus app over there, which has got thousands of recipes in it. So all the good food guides and taste are putting their recipes on our app, and those recipes are the cooking part of the recipes are controlling the oven. It's important in ovens that sometimes that you start low and finish at a high temperature and whatnot, and then there's phasing. So that phasing has now been controlled by the food experts, as in what needs to happen for the best outcome is then automatically controlling the oven. So that's a good reason to be connected. There are a lot of connected appliances that there's no real good reason to have them. To have a kettle that you can turn on from your bed makes some sense, but it can't fill itself up with water or etc. So then there has to be a good reason for them. The new coffee machine that we're launching that I just talked about, the dual boiler. We have a simple on button that takes 6 minutes to heat up. That 6 minutes to me is quite valuable in the morning, wanting my coffee. So by the time I get downstairs from my alarm going off, my coffee machine is ready for me. So a small, simple use, but yeah, connectivity is coming. We focus on it when there's a real benefit for it, and it's not always used that way.
What about sustainability, the buzzword of the last 5 years or so, the circular economy that we hear more and more about? European consumers particularly prioritize products for energy efficiency, for repairability, durability. How do you incorporate sustainability and durability into premium design and manufacturing processes? I mean, packaging, for example, future repairability, power saving.
Lots of questions there. I mean, our packaging, we've just changed everything to full cardboard. So it was a big project for us to take all the foam out of all the boxes, and take all the printing that isn't sustainable off the boxes. So now our modern boxes are brown boxes with printing in one single color on there, no gloss stuff, which was never that great for the environment. That's a simple one, but repairability is important, and that's becoming more and more a part of our design philosophy, where parts can be, if things go wrong, that parts can be changed. We own We also own and sell Baratza, which originally was an American grinding company. Everything there is repairable at home, and I think we're learning a lot from what they've built for their brand and bringing that into future products for us. But yeah, it's not just a buzzword. It's important, and it's something that we're building into our design and engineering process more and more.
Okay. I
Yeah,
didn't know you owned Baratza. I was looking at a Baratza grinder the other day. Point
yeah,
of order. Coffee machines obviously a flagship category, David, but your portfolio includes obviously much, much more than that. You mentioned the ice cream machine, ovens, juicers, etc. Which category do you see as the next major kind of growth driver for your brand? 3 to 5 year timeline.
we're working. I can't tell you is the answer,
Okay.
but there are some categories that we're working on for foods in the kitchen that are a high trend that we're working on at the moment. So, obviously, we're in a world where we get copied fast, and
Yeah.
that's why we sort of we can't talk about what's coming. But there's some really really exciting things coming. Um, yeah, yeah. Sorry, I can't give you too much information there.
I, I enjoy it when people tell me they can't tell me because it means we need to get you back on, very simply. So the invitation is open to you. It's a fast-moving consumer electronics sector for sure. David Gubbin, I really appreciate it. David is the president of Europe, Middle East and Africa at Sage Appliances. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.